It's strange how the anime that has questionable relationships between characters, a jacked athlete who does the equivalent of radio calisthenics, and showcases some of the deepest and darkest sides of the real world today, is also the anime that has some of the most touching moments when it comes to connecting with one another. Oshinoko is known for its intense drama surrounding show business, with the first episode that rocked the world, and has only been showing up again and again to be the best show with the most compelling moments. Without Oshinoko, I would still think that all idols are treated like the VTubers in Hololive.
I fuck hard!
It brings out the dark and bright sides of the entertainment industry with its unique situations. Let's get into Oshinoko's bizarre take on empathy. There are special episodes where the authenticity of the plot is able to shine. What I find to be the most intriguing is that these moments tend to occur between two characters specifically, Aqua and Akane. Aqua, being a relatively stoic character who doesn't show much emotion and plots behind the scenes, is someone who actually shows a lot of compassion for the different people in his life. Even if he's taken it upon himself to practice the art of jackassery, he's still able to pull through for people when the time calls for it. Akane is someone who is refreshingly genuine. She is far off from Kana's strong sense of self in her acting and demeanor, and would rather approach the world through a gentler manner. Showing a lot of care for the craft of acting, you can tell she is passionate. Unlike me, who slaps together a couple of PNGs on the screen and calls it a day, Akane researches and practices her methods. Whether or not you find it creepy that she is mimicking Aqua's late mother, which is the most outlandish thing in this anime so far, you have to admit that she dedicates herself to something and sees it through. These two don't look like a pair that would mesh well together. The vast difference between their work ethic and what they find important are a dichotomy that is akin to pairing up Genshin Impact players to willpower, given that they strike the game but couldn't stop fucking playing it. That aside, it's surprising how these two characters show the most value in their development. Back in season 1, the arc surrounding Akane's breakdown was something that broke the anime community. Whether you saw yourself in the situation or you felt sympathy for similar events in real life, the storytelling and imagery shown with the plot during these scenes depicted very well how the evolving age of the internet can eat away at our inner selves, despite its purpose being to allow us to connect better with one another. Seeing recent events on Twitter, I'm not surprised about the comments during this scene in the anime. You have extremists on both sides, chronically online people, and parasocial fans who don't stack paper like I do and buy $200 worth of merchandise at Anime Expo. The response that Akane got was typical of internet culture, and more specifically online Japanese culture. They're the ones who created 2chan, which devolved into 4chan, where all anyone ever does on that now is post out of touch takes and then proceed to call each other slurs. It was very real and shocking to see a popular manga talk about topics like these, and for the animation studio to take it upon themselves to portray these feelings and emotions into a way that made the core of the issue digestible, but the little details they added, whether it was through the camera work or sound engineering, made that scene all the more haunting for people who were invested and are familiar with this side of society. The real kicker is that the person who you would expect to be the least involved in this, Aqua, comes in to save Akane before she does something she would regret. These two didn't have many interactions leading up to this moment. At best, they were acquaintances, but Aqua was still able to recognize the state of peril that Akane was in and predict where she would have been in this situation. I believe that Aqua demonstrated a great portion of empathy here. As we've learned in the most recent episode of season 2, Aqua blames himself for what happened to Ai. He doesn't believe that he should be able to enjoy this new life he's been given. It's been revealed that he went to counseling and has had episodes whenever something reminds him of the accident. We'll get into the emotional trauma later, but what we need to know right now is that Aqua has his fair share of distraught feelings. Aqua is able to realize what he's been through, and with simple observation and inference, is able to provide the support that Akane desires when she needs it. Some of us may have been in a situation with a friend like this, and personally, I regret it every now and then that when an old friend of mine was going through something, something that I could have done something more. I wanted to do anything more at all to help the people I cared about. This might have been the ideal perfect outcome when it comes to an intense scenario like this, but this arc in the anime represents what it means to have empathy, and rather than experiencing it as it is, you take action and use your knowledge and your memories to create lasting effects. I would have liked to do that myself, but back in 2019, I was too hung up on trying to get a VPN working so I could play a Korean MMO and be parasocially married to my edgy scythe-wielding wife. From the night of the close call, Akwe, Akane, and the rest of the cast on the drama series that actually cared about someone losing their life, because you know, as Persona taught me, all adults are evil, they smoothed out the process of recovering from the fallout. Akane wouldn't be alone after that, and she learned how to better perform her profession because of some of their advice. Again, what the fuck was she cooking? This was only the first half of an overarching exchange that would define the type of relationship that Aqua and Akane would have. From here on out, Aqua would often play the quiet type, someone who went along with everything and studied everyone else from the sidelines. To be honest, it is adjacent to cuck behavior, but let's not get into that. In the new season of Oshinoko, most of the major cast is involved in the 2.5D stage play performance. Despite the simplicity of what was just supposed to be an enactment of a popular manga, through revisions and rewrites, all-nighters of dragging work, a viewing of what I can only assume to be Yuri on Ice Ping Pong Edition, and coming to unlock each other's true potential, everyone involved is focusing their passion into this project. It's described by Kana, but Aqua is someone who has only ever known how to imitate others and mimic what they may have done in a performance. He isn't one to pioneer a new school of thought when it comes to acting out a role. Having the ultimate skill of an AI plagiarizer who can only infer and not think, Aqua's tech bro acting skills needed to evolve in order to fulfill his role and further progress his goal of finding his father. While brainstorming how to accomplish this, Kana suggests something that brings up bad memories for Aqua. As mentioned before, he had went to counseling after Ai's death for trying to understand and come to terms with it. But let's just be for fucking real. How can you expect someone to accept death that easily, especially for someone who they idolized for such a long time? That's like asking British people to give up having beans for breakfast. Jokes aside, this awakening of emotions shows up in the form of a panic attack. Aqua is unable to finish the day of rehearsal and is taken elsewhere to rest while he recovers from this horrible episode. Akane learns about this condition that Aqua has, and while watching him rest, she hears things that get her to infer certain events about Aqua's past. From here on, Akane sees Aqua as someone who has experienced horrible things like she has. Depending on who you ask, they may not be equal in magnitude. However, whether or not the severity of their issues are on equal footing, it doesn't negate the fact that Aqua felt empathy for Akane in the past and Akane feels empathy for Aqua in the present. Emotions like these aren't about reaching an equivalent exchange. It's about being there for the other person when it matters most. During the moment when Aqua awakens from his nightmarish slumber, Akane grabs a hold of Aqua and tries to comfort him in the best way she can. Even if it's subtly through the lens of his late mother. But that's besides the point. In whatever method she could, she wanted to be there for Aqua in his vulnerable state, just like he was there for her. This is an excellent showing of true care and love. I don't care what kind of shipper you are. Don't bring the arguments into the comment section about whether or not Aqua belongs with Kana because she is a girl boss, or if he belongs with Ruby because you're a freak of nature who wants to get your rocks off. That's not the type of love that I'm talking about. Whether or not it's romantic or purely out of friendship, love is multifaceted, and I think you can show love by being present. There's different ways of showing love, and I think showing loyal compassion for a friend of yours is a great showcase of love. I've had situations where I would say there was nothing romantic going on between me and a friend of mine, but the fact that we were present in the moment and spilling our hearts out to each other and connecting through that is a form of selfless love. You show this without needing to spell it out. That's exactly what episode 4 of the second season does. Akane realizes what horrors Aqua has been hiding behind all this time, and she wants to show her support for him. It might not be explicitly said through specific terminology, but you can sense the emotions oozing out of her embrace, her soft-spoken voice, and the easing of her body language to allow for a kinder environment. I'm saying all this, and you might be thinking that this is all a bunch of mumbo-jumbo empath type shit that liberals want everyone to believe because they don't know how to regulate their own emotions. And to that, I might say that you're spitting. I just think it depends on how you want the people around you to live. If you want everyone to be shut off from each other, then that's fine. Go ahead and parade around your toxic masculinity proximity, but don't be the one to come crying when your bottle of emotions ups and shatters. I would rather live in a world when we're able to be open with each other. Therapy is great for that because if you find someone you can confide in, then you will find a safe space in them. Support systems like family or friends are also great for that. If it's talking through a situation or simply spending time with one another that helps you, then go ahead and devote time to self-care so that you can experience these things. I don't want to sound like a self-help guru. I'm nowhere near narcissistic enough to think I can help others like this, and neither am I confident enough to believe in my emotional intelligence and understanding. However, I will share my own experiences that I recall through the media I watch because I'm passionate about things like this. Through this exchange of emotions that were a season apart, Akane and Aqua were better able to understand each other through empathetically showing their weak sides to one another. It might not have been an ideal scenario for either of them, but not everything goes as planned. Life throws you curveballs, but sometimes those surprises are what gets you to develop the most. Empathy is not something you can plan, but it just happens. I think Oshinoko explained this perfectly through their storytelling and imagery depicted in the anime.